People who are ghosting other people, have you ever been called out? If so, how did that make you feel? 90% of people who ghost have an entirely different version of events. I was accused of ghosting someone who had stopped talking to me months earlier. I think I was supposed to chase them and fix things. My ex constantly wanted me to fight for her. After a while I was just like, why? I learned it's a waste of time to fight for a person back in my teen years. By the time you need to start fighting to be with a person, they've already made up their minds and have mentally and emotionally moved on. Fighting to stay in a relationship is exhausting and depressing. If someone truly wants to be with you, they won't play games like this. I won't even do this with texting. I have a friend who reaches out with a text or two, then disappears the minute you ask her anything serious she doesn't want to discuss. She wants people to pursue her with questions and worry about why she hasn't responded. I've shown her consistently that I won't be that person. I'll give someone all the time in the world but duck off if you think I'm going to chase you. I was recently ghosted by a guy I'd been seeing. He actually reached out and apologized after a while, so that was nice of him, but it doesn't take away how much it hurt. My way of thinking is if someone ghosts you, let the dead rest. No point in chasing it after someone who doesn't want to be chased. I was low-key dating hanging out with this guy that started ghosting me. After a while I texted and just asked him to honestly tell me what was up. He explained in great detail that he met someone else and had fallen hard for her. He apologized sincerely for being a dick by ghosting, and I actually really appreciated some brutal honesty for once. I've dated so many assholes that would lie about everything or gaslight me that I always prefer the harshest truth now. Is everything okay? Are you tired of hanging out with people, or are you just tired of hanging out with me? And got a very decent last one. I'm really bad at this back. I felt better for having that cleared up, and we weren't super long-term material anyway. Edit, there I fixed it. I just got ghosted by someone I've been seeing pretty regularly since August, and it sucks. I asked straight up, hey, you've been silent for a while, is everything okay? After a week of no response and still haven't heard back. The disrespect is palpable. Edit, holy crap, this blew up. Some additional details, we weren't exclusive. It was a mutual agreement that we just wanted to be friends with benefits, but we were really friends. We'd hang out and get meals together and watch shows before hooking up. I had invited him, in a friend capacity, to a small gathering taking place at the end of this month, and he agreed to go. We hung out again after that, watched a movie, and he went home since we both had a no sleepover policy. My policy isn't as strict if it's been a few weeks, but I didn't want to push him. He's definitely got an avoidant personality type, but I did expect that to become an issue, since we weren't getting romantic and I wasn't interested in starting a relationship anyway. After that night he stopped responding. I'd sent him a few Snapchats, nothing crazy, mostly jokes and memes, and after a week I texted asking if everything was okay. That was 1 week ago. I kept getting left on read, so I'm just gonna let ghosts stay dead. Even if he were to reach out at this point, I'm annoyed enough at his behavior, and I've got too much respect for myself to try building a friendship with him again. They'll find his body in the spring. They'll find his body in the spring. The season or the body of water? Neither. It is this one Inger.9ZSE7F. When little Timmy took his phone, and saw the message there, he said, I'm better off alone, I think it's only fair. So what's the point in texting here? I'd only write goodbye. An absent word is just as clear as any wording why. I think it's better not to say, the lad opined with pride. Alas, she tracked him down one day. And Timmy ducking died. This happened recently. I had a friend I had known for 25 plus years. We wound up at the same company and realized we lived very close. She was all into office gossip and talked trash about people I liked. I asked her to stop. Any obstacle I was facing was dismissed because she had been through worse. When I needed to talk to someone about personal struggles I was having, she would talk over me and change the subject to her issues. This went on for a few years. I would hang up after talking to her and question why I bothered. Finally, I had enough. I ghosted her, and after a few months, she reached out to me via text. I replied and told her why. I was not cruel, just honest. Now I am mean and hurtful. I blocked her and am not regretting this at all. I think about her and hope all is well. I just needed to sever the ties. As the great Tupac Shakur once said, just because you lost me as a friend doesn't mean you gained me as an enemy. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. Tupac also said revenge was the sweetest joy, next to getting pussy. Are we forgetting that Tupac once also said, rather poignantly, "That's why I ducked yo bitch you fat motherfucker." My 44 make sure all yo kids don't grow edit. My comment blew up bigger than I thought it would. That just happens to be my favorite line from Hit 'em Up, and I thought it would be funny in this context, but I don't think that him saying something like that negates the positive change he tried to make in the world. Like many important people in history, Tupac was a really complex figure that grew up in a structure of violence and emulating a lot of what he saw. He also tried to do a lot to lift people out of that cycle of violence and had an entire philosophy that can't be summed up with one random line from one of his rap songs. Thug life. This whole thing belongs in Reblursa comments. When things aren't going well in my life, I turn inward and isolate myself. I'm not good at receiving support and therefore I avoid people when I'm not doing well. It makes me ghost the people I care about and then suddenly contact them again, and the cycle continues. I've been called out on it and I'm honest. I'm sure it's hurtful and it makes me feel awful, but I don't know how to be anything but the happy supportive friend that you'll get close to, and I'll disappear when I can't be that. This is exactly how I feel, but I have never been able to put it so well. I disappear when I feel like I can't be a happy supportive friend. I feel you. I do this too when shit starts to pile up. I just tap out and stop trying. Which makes me feel worse. And then that just spirals me out of control, which pushes me away from people even more. The hardest part is that I'm so aware of it, but when it happens, I feel completely helpless. I've been ghosting this girl I liked and she hasn't noticed because I'm the one who always starts the conversation. I now know that I'm not technically ghosting her. Please stop commenting that. This happened to me. I was close friends with someone at work for 17 years, then the school we worked in closed, and we were moved to different schools. For the first 4 months, I made all the effort in staying connected. After Christmas break, I just stopped. It took her 6 weeks to reach out to me. That was a really hard time. Yes, my best friend of 10 years, I helped plan, pay for, and was in her wedding, did the same to me. I noticed that I was always the one making plans, contacting first, etc., so I stopped. I haven't seen or heard from her in 2 years. This is me too. My best friend from high school and I drifted a little on college, separate schools, but reconnected once we were back. We hung out a bunch of times, but I realized that only happened when I reached out. And even then it was usually just a quick let's grab dinner after work, and she declined any bigger, more interesting plans with me. Feels Fatman. So I just stopped reaching out, and here we are almost a year later. Okay, genuine question. As the friend who feels himself drifting apart, not hitting up a person who I once called my best friend, what do you suggest I do? In other words, what do you wish your friend had done instead of what actually happened? The issue is that it's not like Therese any hard feelings or issues between us. I just haven't been enjoying the time we spend together like I used to, and I've been growing closer to other friends that I'm getting along with more. Then with the whole COVID thing, I've only realized even more that I'd much rather be spending time with other people than him, and I feel kinda bad though. I've just stopped hitting him up for the most part and keep our contact down to small talk or really small activities. Any advice? Just be honest. That's what I'd do or expected from a friend. Problem is we're still friends. It's not like I don't ever want to see him again. We're just become less friends, if that makes sense. Sadly, I think that might be normal for some friends. I read something along the lines of, some friends are friends for that chapter of your life. It might not have an exact cause, or maybe you haven't quite found the root of the differences. Has he reached out to you? Maybe he's not your current best friend and just a friend, and though it's a bit sad about previous good times, sometimes that happens. My friends since 6th grade, 17 years of friendship, have drifted a bit apart. We're still friends and we get along great, but we also have other friend groups or partners that we hang out with more.